And now we move on to our next session, which is involving the future in the present. Indeed, a very interesting session is about the role of children in animal rights advocacy. And our moderator for this session is Paul Littlefair. He is the head of international of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, RSPCA, UK. Paul graduated in Chinese, studying and working in Asia before joining the RSPCA in 1998. He has collaborated with organizations across the region in many areas: development of anti-cruelty law in China, inspectorate training in Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, farm animal welfare standards, welfare and ethics with several Asian national laboratory animal sciences associations, and animal welfare education in a number of countries. Paul, it's a pleasure to have you today with us. And I also see you have all the panelists eagerly, all the speakers rather, eagerly awaiting to come online and start the session. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. All right. Many thanks for that warm introduction. I'm very happy to be here. It's early in the morning for me, but it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. This second panel of our conference is involving the future in the present, role of children in animal rights advocacy. As we've just heard, we have a lineup of 4 speakers who are going to talk about their work in Nepal, in Vietnam, in India, and in China and Pakistan. And I'm sure you'll welcome them with as much warmth as we have just heard now. Our first speaker is Angela Shrestha. She's the founder and program director of the project Humane Nepal. And the topic of her presentation this morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, is strategies for effectively teaching in-class humane education programs. Her presentation aims to look into tips and techniques utilized to deliver effective in-class education programming to make the younger generation empathetic and aware of, knowledgeable about, and empowered to make changes in their attitudes and behaviors regarding humane treatment of animals. So thank you very much, Angela. Welcome, and we look forward to hearing your presentation.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for signing up for this session. My name is Angela. That's me in the photo with little Dobby. I found Dobby on the streets in Kathmandu, Nepal last year during the COVID lockdown. Unfortunately, there are too many dogs and puppies like Dobby who live on the street, and they live such a difficult life. They live in fear almost every day because they receive a lot of abuse and cruelty from the community. So in order to be able to break that cycle of fear and abuse, to encourage empathy and compassion in the community, to inspire action through our organization, Project Humane Nepal, we have initiated and we've been conducting presentations and workshops in schools to educate, inspire, and empower the young generation to make a positive difference in the lives of animals around them. In 2019 alone, we were able to provide humane education workshops to more than 23,000 students in schools. And it's not about the numbers, it's not the quantity, but our main focus as educators was to improve the knowledge, the attitude and intended behaviors of the kids regarding humane treatment of street dogs as well as pet dogs. When we evaluated our program, the findings suggested that more than 92% of the class enjoyed our presentation. They said that they learned something very new, something meaningful that they hadn't learned in any other classes. And the most promising and the most exciting part was to see the shift in the perception of the kids from negative to positive about how they anticipated treating the dogs on the street and at home. So in the next slides, I'm going to talk about the different strategies to conduct an impactful and effective educational program in a classroom-based setting. So these two strategies that I'm going to talk about, both are research-based, and they're going to be relevant when you're going to teach a group of kids who are middle school kids, or kids from high school, or even college goers. And these are going to be relevant when you teach about any topics related with animal welfare, be it about companion animals or even about, farmed animal welfare. So these are very general strategies. So tip number one, include a lot of visual stories in your presentation. By visuals, I mean powerful videos and images or photos that are relevant, of course, and that present accurate and factual information. When you show videos and photos in classes, they sort of take the attention of the kids, and it helps you connect and engage the students as well. And also telling stories about the experience of animals, regarding animals as individuals and not just a part of a species. It really engages the kids and helps students connect with the life of the animals as well. And I'll give you a couple of examples. For instance, this is one of the slides that we use during our classroom presentation. Instead of just putting out a text saying, put out a bowl of water for animals in your neighborhood or feed them, we try to pass on that message through visuals like this one. So this is the story of a mother dog. After she gave birth to a puppy, a few people from the neighborhood made a makeshift shelter for her and provided some food and water. And when we show this picture to the kids have written in their post-class notes that it has sort of like touched them, and the photo sort of remains with the kids and has inspired a lot of kids to do something for the animals as well. And we also share a lot of before and after photos and stories of animals that have been adopted, that have been rescued. And this is one such story, the story of Olive. So Olive was born on the street along with 7 of her siblings. After her mom gave birth to them, when she went to find food, she was hit by a vehicle and then she died. Unfortunately, this is the fate of a lot of mother dogs in Nepal. And so these were basically orphans. And we knew that, if the puppies continued to live in this condition, they probably wouldn't have made it. So this was the day when Olive and a few of her siblings were rescued from the street. Fortunately, 2 of them got adopted into a local family. And again, adoption of the dogs on the street, bringing them home from the street, is a completely new. It's not a very it's a very new thing here in Nepal, and it's something not in the culture. So we're trying to bring about a change in the perception of a lot of people about, adoption. So in the next few slides, you'll see how Olive's life completely was transformed after she got adopted into this family, and how the life of a dog can change when they receive, love and care from humans. Um, so this is Olive after a week after getting adopted. And kids have been really surprised, when they see these pictures, of her life on the street versus when, the dog's treated as a family member as opposed to, being regarded as pests, just pests. So this is Olive growing up. This was probably in 2017. Olive turns 4 this May, and this is her now. Um, when we show these pictures, the children don't only talk about Olive, or they don't only have questions about her, but they even notice the dog that's behind Olive, and that is Raju. Raju used to be a street dog too. So this is pictures and videos can really really be impactful. And this was Olive's first Kukur Tihar, the day where the entire country worships and celebrates dogs. But for Olive and Raju, every day is a Kukur Tihar. But they do like to get pampered and spoiled once in a while. So these are some of the testimonials that kids have written about our presentations, about our workshops. And these kind of shows how impactful videos and photos can be and how they can change the perception of the kids about a certain idea or a topic. So one of the kids has written that he or she was inspired by the videos. They really liked Olive and her brother Raju's story, and if given a chance, they too would adopt a dog. Another child writes that seeing the before and after life of Olive and Raju was life-changing for them. They've learned to love dogs and to care for them. They're thankful to Project Team in Nepal for showing beautiful and heart-touching videos. So this is the impact. Moving on to the second tip, teaching with passion. So when you're passionate about a cause and when you teach about it, to a group of kids, I think it reflects when you teach. The kids can, can see your passion, can see your enthusiasm, and in return, they too get very motivated and driven to do something for the animals. Not just that, but in 2015, I did a research where I interviewed about 10 humane educators, and one sentiment that was common among all these educators was, their passion about helping animals and their passion about educating the kids about the same. And they too said that when you teach, with sincerity, when you're genuine about a cause, it sort of reflects when you teach. And it sort of passes on to the audience as well. And that sort of makes the project really, really impactful. So yes, being passionate about a cause, being sincere and genuine does make a huge difference. And not just that, it's just not about teaching, but it's also about how you teach. So the body language of the educator, the words that you use, all these have the power to either encourage or discourage empathy among the audience. So, the two strategies that I shared, well, it's just not limited to these two strategies, but there's so many other creative ways to go about when you want to effectively teach about animal welfare in a classroom setting. I think the one thing that all of us really have to be mindful is about, it should suit, the strategies need to be age appropriate. So yeah, if you have any other questions or if you'd like to further know about our work, this is my contact information. Again, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Angela Shrestha from Project Humane Nepal. Really interesting to hear turning the sort of individual stories of street dogs into something that children will find fascinating and develop empathy around. Thank you very much for that. Can I just remind people who are viewing now live that if you'd like to ask a question, if you look at your auditorium screen, on the left, you see two tabs. One is the agenda tab, and below that, there's ask a question tab. So if you'd like to ask one, please, by all means, type in your question there, and we will come to it at the end of this session. Thank you. So let me turn now to our second speaker. Our second speaker is Mrs. Mai Nguyen. She's from Humane Society International in Vietnam. She's the Wildlife Program Manager. And Mai's presentation shares children-focused demand reduction campaigns implemented in Vietnam since 2013 to tackle illegal wildlife trade. The National Curricular Initiative aims to teach children about species conservation and threats in the hope of instilling the next generation of Vietnamese citizens with an appreciation of wildlife, leading to a decline in consumption of products such as rhino horn, elephant ivory, and tiger bone. Thank you, Mai Nguyen. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank Paul for your introduction. I'm so glad today to share with you all about our Humane Society International Children-Focused Demand Reduction Campaign in Vietnam. My presentation includes three main parts. The first describes the profile of Vietnamese consumer of wildlife products, while the second will share with you the reason why we advocate children rather than other immediate target group to reduce the demand. And finally, I would like to highlight some outstanding achievement of our demand reduction campaign. Firstly, as some of you may know that Vietnam is known as a short transit and destination country of wildlife products due to its convenience of geographic location. So to combat wildlife crime, our HI project in Vietnam focusing in three main pillars, including firstly reforming law and regulation to narrow down of the loophole that wildlife crime use. Secondly, improving law enforcement. And last but not least, the demand reduction implementation. Before devising our strategy, HAI team in partnership with Vietnam Scientist Management Authority conducted a baseline survey in 2013 in order to understand motivation of buyer and user of wildlife products. Some grew up for the project team to develop potential strategies were gathered from research results as follows. As you can see in the left-hand side, only 4.2% of respondents admitted that they had bought and or used rhino horn and other wildlife products. Continue interviewing in depth these people, a draft of profile of consumer could be demonstrated as mentioned in the right-hand side. They live in 6 big cities across Vietnam, like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. More than 30 years old, their income is more than $1,500 per month. Only a small portion of the consumer were aware of their illegal activity. Successful business people or high-ranking government officers are strongly believed to account for the measure of consumer, and the blind belief on medicinal benefits and leveraging their social status are two main reasons why they have used or bought rhino horn and or wildlife production. Understand the insight of the consumer. HSI empower government partner to conduct multi-phases government-led advocacy strategy, besides of communicating directly with immediate target audience such as business community, traditional medicine practitioner, and human association across Vietnam. HSI start reaching school students from primary school to high school and some university students to raise awareness before urging them joining hands to change behavior. As you can see in the left graph, it takes several steps for a person from observing a problem to change their attitude, perception, and belief before taking suitable action to fix the problem. Our principle to choose a different advocacy approach are simple as almost of households in Vietnam have school-age children, and in our culture, children is central in family. To the concept convened Earth is that by educating one child, many other people in their child life would receive the campaign message. Another reason is that considering that child might be potential future wildlife product consumer, HDI strongly believes that each child that receives the campaign message may be one less future adult consumer that would buy or consume wildlife product. As such, HDI and our government partner didn't invest own resources for immediate target audience. We diversify our target audience, as you can see in this slide. With that goal in mind, we prepare, develop many visualized and easily understandable communication material in both English and Vietnamese, such as a 16-page book for primary school, namely I'm Little Rhino, which were distributed to almost 2 million Vietnamese children across the country, and a series of 4 10-minute cartoon video I'm Little Rhino, Tiger, Pangolin, and Elephant, as you can see in this slide. The movie will air more than 100 times in national and provincial television channel and many social platforms. If you are interested in the content of the movie, feel free to go ahead to the YouTube to search. Besides the national level, the campaign came directly into 6 hotspots, provincial, as shown in the first baseline survey, to arrange many provincial and school communication events such as role play, drawing competition, English speaking contest, and so on. The event focused on wildlife conservation, threat to the wildlife, particularly endangered species, and how school and university students can join hands to protect the species to avoid the extinction. It is great to share with you that by end of 2016, our campaign has reached an estimate of 36 million people, about 1/3 of Vietnam population. Following success from the first phase, in the second phase from 2016 to 2019, HSI continue paying attention in the primary school students who are from 6 to 11 years old. We believe that this is a prime time for children to learn about human world, where animals are loved and treated respectfully. As you can see that we have experienced more than 2 years to complete the curriculum, from conducting the first assessment on the actual demand through our drafting, piloting, consultation, many revision, and peer reviewing. Finally, the curriculum was approved by Ministry of Education and Training in December 2019. It's a big pleasure for our project team that Vietnam government commit to include the extra curriculum in their education system, at least in 10 target provinces known as hotspot of wildlife trafficking or consumption from the school year 2019 and 2020. Have a look at this slide. In the left-hand side shows the guidebook designed for teacher, while in the middle 9 different books are designed for students with interactive activity from basic concepts such as wild, domestic animal, ecosystem, ocean, forest, and so on, threat to wildlife, and feasible solution to protect species. The right hand are communication materials supporting for the learning in class. HSI is proud that curriculum on threatened species have reached up to more than 2 million students only in one school year by end of 2020. By teaching school students, we hope that the next generations of Vietnam citizens with an appreciation for wildlife will take full responsibilities to save animals in any form. It is too early to conclude that this approach might be better than other demand reduction initiatives. But based on the theory of social behavior change, we strongly believe that HSI and our government partners are working so hard to contribute to the progress of making a social movement, a social change in which all citizens feel their responsibility to protect wildlife and endangered species. This is come to my end, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mai Nguyen from HSI in Vietnam, Humane Society International. Really interesting. Of course, a lot of countries across the Asian region, we know, wildlife consumption can be very high, and it's vital work reaching very young people, trying to find out what adults' consumption habits are first, and then targeting young children, the next generation, who hopefully will turn away from those kinds of products. Thank you very much, Ms. Nguyen, for that. I'll just remind everyone again about the question box. Ask a question that appears on the left-hand side of your auditorium screen if you come out of the large screen. And we will come back to questions at the end. Thank you. Now let me turn to our third speaker of the panel. Our third speaker is Vasanthi Kumar. She's a co-founder and managing trustee of Straw India, and she describes her work and presentation. Our motto is animal welfare through education. We sow seeds of compassion in school children of today, so that they, as doers, influencers, opinion leaders, and decision makers of tomorrow, are encouraged to become ambassadors of change for a better world for the voiceless. Thank you very much, Vasanthi Kumar.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, AFA, for giving me this opportunity to speak at your esteemed conference. I am truly honored. My topic for today is Children, the biggest hope for animal rights advocacy. All of us at Straw believe that children are the biggest hope for animal advocacy. You may wonder why. Our reasons are three. Children have a natural attraction for animals. Children are the easiest to convince, and the world becomes what we teach. At the same time, when it comes to older people, we have a problem. They are very difficult to be convinced. In fact, they flow against the rhythm of nature. Let's call these people disruptors. They have problems with everything, trees to flowers to beehives, cats and dogs. Take the case of this picture here. It's a beautiful tree with beautiful flowers. But when the flowers fall down, they fall with a thud, and people don't like it. It dirties their compound, they say. So the solution to that, chop the tree. Take the case of this beehive. Our tall buildings have reached to the level where the beehives are very close to us. This picture was taken from my window on the 3rd floor. The people want the beehives to be brought down because they disturb them at night, being attracted to the light inside their houses. Then, of course, we have the cute little puppies. People would like to dislocate them and do away with them. So this is a problem with everything that they have. We also have people who are unaware, ignorant, and silent. In the case of this lady here in this picture, she's a gardener who comes to her park every day to tend the trees and the plants. And the little boy walks with her, and he is busy playing with ants. The other day I saw him killing the ants, told him what he was doing, and he says, I'm playing with the ants. And when I explained to him that he's actually killing the ants, he understood, he stopped, and he also went to the extent of saying sorry. Then we have the third category of people. They're very few in number. Let's call them enhancers. They move with the rhythm of nature. They inspire people to be compassionate to all living beings. And they even nudge children towards developing kindness and empathy for animals. Here's where straw's role comes in. Straw is striving to play the role of a multiplier of enhancers. We are trying to increase the numbers. Our motto is animal welfare through education. Our work is sowing seeds of compassion in little children. And our motivation is Dr. Nelson Mandela saying, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. To this, we have added 3 little words, humane right at the beginning and for animals at the end. So now it will read like this. Humane education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world for animals. What do? We do what is known as compassionate classroom programs. We do it for school children and for college students. And for school children, we have compassionate classrooms and compassionate scholars for college. This was before the pandemic. Once the pandemic came, we moved on to the online mode. We call them stories of kindness. And for college students, we call it kindness dialogues. For school students, we've been teaching them subjects like each one can take care of one stray animal, how to celebrate Diwali in a possum manner without crackers, busting myths about cats, and no more cages and chains. And the case of the college students, we've been doing, creating animal-friendly campuses, first aid for animals, inspiring them to avoid elephant rides, and also inspiring them to avoid using horses during weddings. We have created a lot of humane education and animal welfare education resources. They have been particularly made for Indian circumstances. There's a lot of information available on the internet, which is for other countries for their circumstances. We have created contents that is for India. We have classroom activities, worksheets for homework, drawing outlines, coloring sheets, PowerPoint presentations, and quizzes and puzzles. Children are our biggest hope for animal rights advocacy. You may wonder why we say this. We call this the ripple effect. Let me explain. When we do a compassionate classroom program, we inspire children. Children discuss it with their parents. They also discuss it with their siblings and with friends. And then they have actually become the future generation where we have actually sown the seeds for a future generation. And if we get lucky, these children can also be inspiring their own kids to be compassionate. We worked out a little math for the ripple effect. Teaching one child is equal to teaching 5 people. For example, it is like they talk to 2 parents. Let's say they talk to 1 sibling and maybe 2 friends. So it's equal to 5 people. So when a teacher is teaching a class of 50 children, she's actually inspiring 50 children, and the message of compassion is actually spread to about 250 people. Here are some pictures of what work we have done. This picture relates to when we had taken a dog to classrooms where the children come and touch the dog or the puppy, and they actually get over their fear of dogs. We have taken a dog for a first aid session at IIT Delhi. We also done it at DTU. And we've been doing many drawing programs and outdoor activities. And at colleges also, we have been doing some inspirational work. We urge all people who love animals and children to begin humane and animal welfare education classes in your own neighborhoods. Because it doesn't take much. Doesn't need a large space. It doesn't need much money either. All it needs is a passionate heart that beats for animals, fluency in English, fluency in the local language, and a strong drive. I'd like to leave you with a video clip of what children take home when they come and participate in our programs. Let me play this for you.
I will say you the message of the story. In this story, there are two messages. First, we should keep our nature clean. Second, we should treat all living creatures with kindness. Thanks.
Yes, my favorite animal is a rabbit because they're so cute, and to protect them, I don't really want them to go in cages because then they just stay locked up for the whole time. So if they are just free, they can happily move around. That's why I really want a rabbit as my pet.
Like us, animals should also be free and not be caged. The message. Thank you. My favorite animal is one peacock because it's colorful and the national animal of India.
Okay. And Meena, can you tell me how can we look after the peacock?
We can set her free.
That's why we say that children are therefore the biggest hope for our long-term animal advocacy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kumar, for your presentation. That's very interesting, and I'm beginning to detect a common thread through our presentations around empathy and around, especially just now we heard about the impact of multiplying, of children being able to influence their family members and their friends, people around them. And that's an important factor in the education work that we're trying to do as animal advocates. For our fourth speaker and the last of our panel, again, I'll just remind you before that if you want to ask a question, please use the tab on the left of your screen if you're looking at the auditorium screen. For our fourth speaker, I'm very happy to introduce an old friend of mine. We've known each other more than maybe 20 years or so. This is Pei Fan Su, who's the founder and the CEO of ACT Asia, an organization that's been working particularly in China, but other parts of the continent too. And the topic is an introduction to the program Caring for Life for Children. Caring for Life education for children is ACT Asia's unique 6-year curriculum and guiding resources for primary settings in China and also in Pakistan. It's based on UNESCO's 4 pillars of education, promotes social and animal welfare and environmental issues through more than 3,000 trained teachers, which has reached more than 100,000 children so far. Thank you very much, Pei Fan. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pei. I'm the founder and CEO of the ACT Asia. I would like to use this opportunity to thank Fiapo and Blue Cross of India to invite me to speak at Asia for Animal Conference 2021. Today, I would like to talk to you about ACT Asia's Caring for Life children education in Asia. ACT Asia was established in 2006, and we have offices in United Kingdom, in United States, Netherlands, and Australia. We also have 2 offices in Shanghai and Zhuhai. We're very happy and very pleased to celebrate our 15 years of anniversary in this year as well. In today's world, we are facing enormous global challenges, that's including human suffering, animal exploitation, and nature crisis. These issues are all interconnected. Instead of fighting the fire constantly, ACT Asia believes education is a way to address root causes. And before I talk about why children's education is really important for animals movement, I would like to use 2021 Harbin Polar Base Hotel, which is located in northern China, Harbin, in Heilongjiang province. And you may already have heard these two bears was confined in the courtyard of the hotel. And so every guest and hotel guests, they could when they stay in this hotel, they can see the polar bears. The slogan the hotel has used is called "Sleeping with the Bears" to attract more visitors. You can see from this photo is a very great attraction for the kids to visit this hotel, to stay in a hotel, or had a dine in this hotel. And the girl on the left also show how happy she was to visit this place. But the sad thing we can see from this picture is that children are not seeing the animals as, to show their nature behavior. They see the confinement. They see it is okay to, confine animal in such an environment. So when what they are doing is their nature behaviors and needs of the animals' welfare are all being neglected and compromised. So kids are growing up to see this is okay when to treat animal in such a way. So through the generations, they are not easy for us to change their behavior. So it turned out to be, we are treating we're treating the issue without address the fundamental challenges. And you can see from the hotel, the next door is the exhibition for more North Pole, South Pole animals like this penguin, and little children can feed these animals as well. So what we are trying to do is prevent these kids to grow up to see this is the kind of activity they want to see. They truly, from when they are young age, they understand animals are sentient, animals are having the feeling like humans, animals, their needs and care should be met. So what Advocacy tries to promote is, we know many groups are trying to do what they can during their the annual program with more burning issue. However, education, it should be addressed when the kids are still very young, early stage. So education is not being seen as an add-on program. It should be, taking more serious consideration and taking more strategic approach to address these issues as well. Advocacy's children's education program started in 2012. It's based on UNESCO's 4 pillars of education. We teach the kids from 6 to 12 years old, and we run the course in the state school, not just in the private school or international school. We train teachers to teach the course. And what we are trying to teach is human education, to compassion, empathy towards animal is a proper subject rather than just be seen as an ad hoc talk. And so it's 10 lessons per year for 6 years of learning as well. And we train the teachers to teach the course rather than Advocacy staff to deliver this program. We're very pleased. Today we have have done almost 10 years of efforts, and we have a great outcome achieved. Is we have trained more than 3,000 educators, and we have reached more than 100,000 students within China. Within this program is also very important. We have independent researchers to evaluate our program. So you can see we have the result to show in the academic journal, and the research been evaluated. Our course have been started since 2013 to date. So you can see we have a very solid data about how kids has changed their behavior through the program. They become nicer and kinder to each other. Their attitude towards animals was 34%, the understanding better and before and after the lesson. So the change, we can show this solid data. We are very pleased, to share with you is through our programs, and from beginning in 2012, we started how we researched the education system to implement the project. To date, we have a set of supporting material for when we continue, when we approach the school, we have caring for life educations, curriculum standard, curriculum guidelines. We also have evaluation results to share with them. On the right-hand side here, you can see we have 6 years of lesson plan in English. And the bottom here, we have 6 years of lesson plan in Chinese. And so that is all allow the teachers that pick up the lesson plan can teach year after year. So you can see here is a 6 years of lesson plan. We also have the language in Greek, and also we have the material being translated to in same language in Pakistan. And I would like to show this very short video about how the teachers in Shanghai to share with your view about what she think of the Caring for Life education course.
Hi, 我是上海市金汇实验学校一名教师，担任学生管理部主任一职。我们学校开展生命关怀教育已经3年了，我非常喜欢认可这门课程。说起生命关怀，可能原先我会教育我的学生要关爱自己和他人的生命，而这门课程拓展了我的认知。它让我在头脑中建构起人与他人、与动物、与环境相互关联的一张庞大的生命之网，可以让我站在更广阔的视角去认识自己，同时审视自己的行为。其次，这门课程与其他课程不一样，它没有标准答案，也不灌输标准答案，而是调动孩子们原有经验，通过讨论、游戏、故事、演绎等探究式学习方式，自己去寻找答案，做出具有同理心的选择。所以这门课程不仅孩子们喜欢，家长认可，参与授课的老师也得到了收获和成长。这门课程的生命力非常强大。Hi.
So you can see from the feedback we received from the teacher, she has, taught the course in the school for more than 3 years. She's not only delivered to the children by themselves, the teacher themselves also receive they feel the change with their view to view their society, they view the animals, their relationship with animals, they view our relationship with nature. So the course itself is not just go to school to say what is right, what is wrong, what we want them to stop. It's actually inform the kids to make the informed choice. They grow up to say, I do not want to see this polar bear to be confined in this hotel. We do not want to see the animal to be used for the entertainment, for the performers. They will want to stop to buying the products made from the wildlife and from the illegal wildlife trade.
Hi.
As I mentioned earlier, so we're very pleased the course is now being introduced to Pakistan in one of the Sindh province, and we will have 3 years pilot program with them. There's also the research will start it at the same time as well. And the pictures here just show the lesson plan have been translated to the Sindh language. And really the final things that I want to share with us is we know we all have a burning issues. We all have a direct rescue. We have to work in our own organizations. We have lots of animals need to be rescued. However, that is important, but education can also not wait. We need to address the root cause, and hopefully by working together, educate the next generation, we will create a more compassionate society for human, animals, and all together. And I hope if any of you are interested in our Caring for Life children education in 6 years of learning, please do contact us and by writing to us or contact look at through our website. Thank you very much, and please do welcome to ask me more questions later. Thank you.
very interesting to hear how Actasia's program is constructed around UNESCO guidance and also the Sustainable Development Goals as well. These are kind of universal things that we know everyone can sign up to, if you like. I'm just checking to see if questions are coming through. In the meantime, I have a few of my own, I think, that I've thought of. I think really pulled together some of the themes that we've been hearing about. So my first question, and I want to ask everyone in turn, we have a bit of time before our session ends. Obviously, there are very few countries in the world, maybe there aren't any actually, that have animal welfare education or certainly animal rights, for example, in the formal curriculum. So I'm curious as to how the panelists think about how to counter that challenge. If it's not in the formal curriculum, teachers very often will say, well, you know, we have enough pressure to teach the national curriculum. That's the requirement as teachers. The Ministry of Education requires us to do these things. There are examinations at certain ages for children around these topics. Animal welfare doesn't fit into this. How are we supposed to cover this? I'd like to ask the panelists in turn, perhaps. Angela, would you like to start?
Sure. So yes, answering your question. So every time we've conducted humane education programs in schools, we also request the school administration and the teachers to sit through the session, because for most of them, it's their first time, getting to know about, learning about the different topics related to, let's say, companion animal welfare in our case. And initially, because, if it's their first time sitting through a presentation, they were very skeptical in the beginning because they've never been educated by someone else on companion animal welfare issues. But after the presentation, they've been pleasantly surprised, and a lot of teachers and school authorities have been interested to help, they've been interested and they've requested us to sort of help them integrate these issues regarding dog welfare issues like rabies or responsible pet ownership, into their regular curriculum. And it can be blended and integrated into the longer term curriculum in many, through different subjects, be it through, English or science or general curriculum, character education. So I think I think it also depends a lot on like how you persuade the school authorities, how you make things easy for the teachers as well. Like you mentioned, they already have a lot to complete in their end too, especially since COVID happened last year. So I think one thing at a time, and one little change at a time. That's how I'd like to put it. Yeah.
Thank you, Angela. Did you hear the question? I understand you have a connection problem.
Yes, I tried the best, but my connection is unstable.
Okay. So the question was simply just, as we know that, for example, wildlife protection is not really in the national curriculum, and teachers have a lot of pressure on them to teach other things, or the things they have to teach. So how do we work with teachers to try to cover topics that may be seen as extra, additional, or outside the formal requirements?
Yeah, that's very true in Vietnam, because in our education system, there are so many themes that cover head to March, literature or English, something like that. But the teaching the education about the children, about the wildlife, environmental protection is a topic, and the way we are working with a teacher to inspire them to feel that is the compulsory topic. So because when talking about the illegal wildlife trade, illegal wildlife crime, so and how people become more aggressive the day, and main problem like the environmental pollution. The grassroots problem is that the loss of connection between people and wildlife and animal. So the way developing the curriculum to feel that okay, interactive, meaningful curriculum when we and also curriculum, both Ministry of Education and Training and the teacher feel very interested to join our project. And even the project and they still call for the technical have them provide extra training for teacher and student. That's all from my end.
Thank you very much, Mai. Vasant Kumar, can you add something to the discussion?
Yeah. Yes, I like to add what Mai was talking about, getting into the curriculum.
Thank you very much.
Actually, in India also, I'm just, I like to say that getting into the curriculum part is a very difficult part in India because the government's education department is extremely close with what they have, and it is a lot of hard work. But yes, when they do come up with those to publish at that time, if we could get in touch with them, and we can add a few things like what we had done. The Central Board of Secondary Education, we were able to contribute a few lessons. Almost 16 lessons we contributed in terms of empathy and compassion. So yes, we can do that. And that's the Central Board. There's also the State Education Boards. We have to get in touch with them and we will keep following up with them. And if there is a possibility, but yes, it's tough. But I think one-on-one with schools is a good idea. You can contact schools, and I think in the recent past, schools are also becoming quite sensitive about this matter. And in fact, a few schools called us to come and do programs for them relating to animal welfare. So I think that is a positive step forward.
Yes. Thank you very much.
We'll have to unfortunately come in for a quick second. I think someone has switched on two mics.
I think,
that's why
Vasant maybe has two.
Echo, yes, absolutely. Thank you for switching it off. Thank you.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Right. I think are we coming into our last 5 minutes now? Is that right? I think so.
Yes.
Just check the time. Yes, thank you. We have time for Kate to answer the question that I put earlier, the challenge of trying to fit animal welfare or animal welfare education into a full curriculum.
Of course, I think the question Paul mentioned here is very important, but I think it is our lifetime mission. There is no quick fix. To enable us to get into the curriculum, we need to be able to demonstrate the strong case. And I think we have made some pitfall as a community itself. First of all, is we need to remember schools are not our education, it's not our campaign ground. It's very, very often when we go to school, we want to say, don't do this, don't do that, stop stray animal issues, stop, buying this, stop that. We got to think, if the authority think we are coming to campaign, what about they facing about the human rights issue, labor issue? So we got to understand education is non-judgmental, is for making the kids to learn informed choice. So it's a knowledge base. So we need to be able to demonstrate a very broad foundation about what we're teaching could be part of science, is nature science or social science. We need to come with the professional expertise and educational expertise rather than what we think how animals should be treated. So I think, just be mindful to really think about from the school's point of view, education point of view, rather than what we want you to hear. I think we need to really, as an educator, we need to understand their perception. What do they have already know, and what made them don't want to accept it? What is their worries? We often not to think about that. The other thing I think, we need to really emphasize animal welfare is science. Animal sentience are the science background and can back us up. It's not just because we are compassionate individuals or compassionate organizations. And I think lastly is the data. We need, and also I think the data, and also what are the teachers, their burdens. If we have many experience when we talk to the teachers, when we actually explain to them it's about respect, compassion, empathy, they can relate it to because they see the problem. So I think at the beginning, to enable to reach to the higher education or to reach the government as a curriculum, we need to find our partners. We need to find more people like us. They want to make change through education. So I think that's a few very key points we need to address it when we want to promote to the bigger audience or to the national as a part of national curriculum.
Thank you very much, Pei. That's excellent. We have one more minute, so I'm going to ask everyone to be 10, 15 seconds, a quick tip. A question from the audience. Parents, what do we do about potential resistance from parents or reluctance from parents to have their children educated in this way? Very quickly around the room. Can we start with Angela, please?
Sure. So fortunately, we've not had any resistance from the side of the parents, but the kids have mentioned about that in their feedback form, that even though let's say if they want to adopt a dog from the street, they would face resistance from the parents. So we always give the kids take-home materials, and we've got some notes for the parents as well. And we've been trying to conduct community sessions with the parents as well on the request of the kids. So very valid question.
Thank you, Angela. Very good, very quick, very snappy. Mai, do you have any suggestions, additional things?
Yes, we do have some feedback from children parents about they love their children, but they think what is not something reliable.
I've had assistance from parents. Parents have been really encouraging, but in one or two circumstances, the principal of the school has allowed us to go and do a program. But then I had teachers who said that, why are you coming and wasting our time? Why are you coming and influencing our children to do things? And I've also said things like, please make sure that your programs don't contribute to our children stopping to drink milk. They have said that.
Right. Thank you, Vasanthi.
Milk is a very, it's a very important part of one's diet.
Yeah. Pei, thank you. Last word to you, Pei.
Like I said, we have the school working with us as a partner. The principal, the teacher, they buy into your course. They then feel they need the support from the parents. So in all the schools we have promoted, we have additional programs called Parent Power Talks. So we will pass on the information to explain to the school about to the parents about what their kids have learned. And we ask them to be part of the change. They can report back to the schools about what they have seen the change within their children. So the school, again, they welcome that because the school often feel the pressure from parents is enormous. So if you have some entry point for them to work together, again, the school feel you reduce their problems. So everyone working together as a team rather than in isolation and complain about each other. And I think we need to find that key points to how to bring them in is that key could be the compassion and empathy, and the compassion and empathy to animals will benefit to human, and then they get it. Because we have to remember a lot of people in the part of the world we're in Asia, they have very little understanding about animal welfare. They are even frightened of the issue. So we got to bring something to make them feel, I want to do this together with you. And I think parents is important, but we need to do step by step. We don't go to parents by ourselves. We got invited because the school want you to come to talk to the parents. Then you got a great entry point and to talk to them, and you bring everyone together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pei. That's a lovely summing up, I think, involving people, letting them see the value of what we're trying to do, that it's got a much wider value. It's not just about treating animals well. There's a deep human compassion, empathy message as well that benefits society. Thank you so much to all of our 4 speakers today. Really interesting topics from slightly different angles and countries. We've run over a little bit, but I think we're forgiven for all the tech challenges that we all have in our respective places. Many thanks, everyone. I've enjoyed this morning very much, and I look forward to watching it all back again later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. You've been a fantastic moderator. And Angela, Mai, Vasanthi, and Pei, such wonderful inputs. And I think part of this holistic approach engaged in. And thank you all about what you do. So I hope that you remain joined with us today for the entire day and enjoy the other sessions. Paul, a big thank you once again to you for the excellent moderation despite all the technical challenges and these fantastic speakers that we have. So have a wonderful day.